took him 40 years of chasing after me. And if he didn't save me, I'd be probably dead by suicide or in jail for killing people. So praise the Lord. And I'm going to start and let you guys know that my story is deep and dark. And if you have little ones, you might not want them in here to listen to this stuff because I don't want them to be traumatized by it. I'll leave that up to you. Give you a few seconds if you want, because they're little children. I want them to stay a little innocent. Sorry about that. I just traumatized children. I also want to let you know that it's not easy for me to tell you what I'm going to tell you, because it's really dark and hellish. I'll begin with letting you know I was born in North Warren, PA, to parents that were alcoholics, drug addicts, and very abusive. I was abused since in my mom's womb by drugs and alcohol, and my mom and dad fighting and beating each other up while she was pregnant. As a baby, I was abused all the time. I don't even remember a lot of good memories from my childhood because I would sleep the days away because of I didn't stay in bed, and if I was downstairs with my dad, either they were watching porn and we weren't allowed to be in the room, but we would hear everything, or he beat on me and my brother on a daily basis. I was abused sexually, mentally, emotionally, and physically by neighbors, family, so-called friends, babysitters, and that was a weekly thing growing up. So with that, I turned very violent. I hated people. I wanted nothing to do with people. I wished the worst for people. My mom was into witchcraft. My dad was extremely racist. If I played with kids of different backgrounds, colors, I'd get severely beaten. My mom would put spells on people. My mom would boil our pet cats, which traumatized me because those were my pets, because there was certain bones, supposedly. My mom would hold herself up in her den oftentimes and do witchcraft in there, witches use a sort of voodoo doll called a hobbit, and there'd be voodoo dolls in there, and that room was always off limits and scary, and I'd always hear stuff move in that room and hear books falling off the shelves and stuff. Growing up, because of that, I had 2 out-of-body experiences, and I found out by pastors later in life if you grow up around witchcraft, demons can try to pull you out. So that was super scary. My parents never loved me. They thought they could buy me toys and beat me up and buy me toys again, or make me cookies and beat me up or belittle me. There was never any love. If I wanted a hug or anything, that was just, off limits. I was lucky and blessed enough that God put my father's grandparents in my life because they were more like parents and loving parents, and they loved God. So if I went to their trailer, it was nice and neat and clean. And even though I didn't understand what they were saying about God and Jesus, I knew and saw physically a Bible, and that they would pray over dinner. And I knew that was a safe haven, and I knew that there had to be good people out there. So I was like, I might give some people a chance. As I got older, I grew into deep, deep depression. I wanted to die. I'd often try to kill myself, or I'd sleep away the hours after school. Because even at school, I was bullied and beaten. I would eat my lunches in the bathroom. I would skip class often. I was always the oddball out. And I'd get beat at school by people. And I became a bully. Once I first got that first bullying back in, I broke a girl's arm on the bus on purpose. I felt a certain power, and I wanted to exude that power over people and punish people for being mean to me, or just even existing, because I thought they would hurt me if I didn't hurt them first. I eventually wanted to kill people. I wanted to be a serial killer. I even got serial killers and death and stuff all over my body. I know my voice is shaky. I'm kind of nervous, so I became a witch. And with that, I thought maybe my mom would love me if I did what she did, only I never played with cats, because I loved cats at the time. I was a cat person. She didn't give a care in the world. She just was like, whatever, just leave my stuff in my den alone, get your own stuff. And then after a while, she started letting me read her witchcraft books and that. And I started cursing people. And where work, and sometimes it cursed them to death, and sometimes they did die, and bad things would happen. And my parents would curse people, and bad things would happen to them. And I knew, I'm like, oh, I have power. I then decided to become a Satanist. I had the horns in my head, I had a horseshoe. All my tattoos are deep and dark, because I used it as a security blanket to tell people to stay away, and it worked. I worked at a tattoo shop, and I was a body piercer. Even before that, I was a stripper, and I watched porn. That was the norm. I've been divorced and remarried. I've had a miscarriage. I have 2 children, and growing up being abused and no nurturing whatsoever. I was an abusive parent. I beat my kids, and I hope someday they can forgive me and find the hurt and get healing, because knowing what I know now about God in the Bible, I was just like, what did I do, you know? All I can do is go forward with that. But with the killing and the hit list, I'll go back to that. I had a counselor, because I see counselor for depression meds and stuff. My husband decided I needed to share with a counselor because she really wants to kill people. I mean, I was right in the what to do to people and that. And even my landlord at the time, because he was so mean to us. My husband, I'm glad he did this, he brought my hit list to the counselor, and she was like, you know what, you need to call these people and tell them that you're after them. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, I'll be homeless and this and that. And I was like, okay, what if I promise to never make hit lists? And she was like, why don't you promise not to make a hit list? I won't make all these people. So we ripped up the list, and I decided I wasn't going to do that. Because it really hit me, hey, this is real repercussions, you know, this is reality. Down the road, I met my husband Charlie there, and we both weren't saved at the time. He wasn't saved at the time. And he didn't know I was a Satanist, and I thought he would know, but I guess I never really came clean to him about that. He had a coworker that was about 4 years old, and I was pushing 40 at the time. His coworker passed away, and about that time, I was having the fear of death and dying. I was like, oh my gosh, if I die, I'm just not going to exist. There's nothing. And I didn't really pinpoint back to where I had the out-of-body experiences. I thought those were just, I wasn't sure what to think of those. But at his coworker's funeral, I met an ex-pastor there, and he invited us to come and attend church, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. No way. Church ain't for me. I have horns in my head, and a split tongue, and tattoos, but it took a few Sundays, and Charlie's like, I really think you need to go, because the fear of death and dying was eating me up. I could not sit still. I was just bouncing everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I die, I'm pushing 40, and his coworker died at 40. What if I die at 40? And one Sunday, my husband talked me into going to church. I was very nervous, because everyone looked normal. And the pastor had this thing on death and dying, and there was a few other things on there. I can't remember what was on there. But when he said something about death and dying, I was just like, and I found out then and there he was saying believers in Christ go to heaven and be with Christ when you die. I started bawling. Oh my gosh. I was like, I believe. And me and my husband both got saved at that moment. And we talked to the pastor. And he said he was going to do a sermon on something different, but something just made him change his mind and do it on death and dying. And I just know God put that there for me. And another fun tidbit. When I was going through my witchcraft stage, being a witch, my name used to be Stacy Marie Buchanan, and I decided I was going to have a witch name, that would be cool. So I picked Candria and Takira. A few years back, now going down the road, I was going to sign up for this online college thing. It just sounded like something to do. And when I got a hold of someone on the other end of the line, prayer kept coming, pray, and I kept trying to believe it. And I'm talking to this woman, and I'm giving her my name and this and that. And for some reason, I heard her talk about my name. She was saying Candria and Takira. And she said, Takira, that means a God's protection. And I was like, I hung up. I looked up on Google, and Takira says a God's protection. And Candria means glowing. So God was like, you think you're going to have a witch name? Well, I'll show you. And now, fast forward to where I'm at now. I've been going to church going on 8 years. I've learned to love and forgive my family and friends and neighbors that hurt me in various ways. And I just found that forgiving people is such a relief, and that there are good people in the world. And that's why me and Charlie kind of bounce around to different churches, because I want to extend the church family, because even though I don't have a family that loves me and cares about me, I have all you guys. And as of today, I'm going through some toughness. I still deal with depression, but I do workouts. It's like medicine, my medicine. And I have two daughters. One's transgender, and the other one, she decided to get into witchcraft, and she doesn't want me to see my grandbaby because of my being a Christian. She doesn't want to teach Christianity to my grandbaby. So if you can pray for me over that. Yes. And as of today, too, I work at a food pantry at the Nazarene in Warren. I do Crossroads prison ministry, corrections. I correct workbooks, and I write encouraging letters to the Crossroads prison ministry people. And I've just learned to love people and forgive people, and all I can do is pray that people that I hurt will forgive me. And with the Holy Spirit helping me, I'm learning about agape love and that, and the natural affection. And I've read the Bible many times now, and I wish so hard that I could have gone back to when my children were little, and I would have known a woman's role in the Bible. That way my kids would have gotten hurt, but I have regrets for that. But all I can do is pray for forgiveness. And I've tried giving my children Bibles, but I don't think they've cracked them open yet, so I'm just going to keep praying on that. And it took God 40 years chasing after me, but if He chased after me, I have hope for my family members and everyone else. And